Start streaming. Start streaming. Yeah, that's it.
This calls for some big scratching.
We need to open a connection. Time to open a connection.
Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, not what you don't.
Don't.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
Let's get this show on the road.
Sure thing, but first we got to wish the good folks.
Good morning.
Really funny. Really funny.
Do I look like a guy? Yeah. You're funny, man. It's the way you tell a story.
It's a good story. It's funny. You're a funny guy.
Funny guy. You're a funny guy in your deathbed.
You're now in a different continuum than the world you're used to.
There are multi-universes, and we need not worry about that sort of thing.
Funky.
Okay.
She'd laugh at anything. Yes, here we go. I just put some more hot in my coffee. Which was just enough to bring it up to being where it should have been. Proper way of saying things is being. I think it's going to be one of those days. I'm afraid, man. I'm afraid.
Channel check. Left channel. Left channel.
Channel check. Right channel. Right channel. Are you listening in stereo? Left. Right. You know, life can be a crazy little game, and sometimes you're on the left and on the right, but does anything really matter? Speaking of left and right, let's look at this. Why isn't that title card showing? Properties. Because I never went around to changing it. White House. Mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs keep ivy. I used to always think they said keep ivy instead of eat ivy. It's a kittle eat ivy do, and then it's a kittle eat ivy. Instead, a kittle eat ivy too, wouldn't you? Let's try that together one more time. Mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy. A kittle eat ivy too, wouldn't you? Everything you know is wrong, including that song. And it rhymed, which is
Jukebox Gold.
The greatest show on earth. What am I so lively about? Because the pain pill I took last night at around midnight. That's some of those Popeye noises. I think I'll make myself one of those submarine sandwiches. That has been the downfall of me my entire life. Submarine sandwiches.
Hello. Hello.
Look at that. That's the White House press room before they do something. And you see these people checking their clothes, checking their texts, putting their makeup on, checking their cleavage. Everything you know is wrong. It's all a big thing. What did I say in the title card here? Or the description? You may not be able to see the whole thing depending on what you're watching this on. It says showbiz kids, media posers, and clowns. Today is July 31st, 2021. It's still July, man. It's still July, and I'm still sick as a dog. I got my, whatchamacallit, These humans are really fascinating, and this English language is fascinating too. And today is a Saturday, so that means it's
Weekend weather.
since we're still in the weekend. What the heck's going on outside? I think it's pretty cold out there. It's 57 degrees currently outside my studio at 5:21 Eastern Standard Time. That's 5:21 a.m. in the a.m. Yeah, I get up around 4. So that pain pill I took is just about ready to wear off. Today's supposed to be completely, totally, absolutely sunny, starting at 7 a.m. And that means I guess I'll go out and get some sun. I tried helping a friend with something yesterday, and I was just, when you had no energy at all. High today is going to be 75 degrees. Low is going to be 54. Sunday, tomorrow, it's going to be a 50% chance of a thunderstorm. Maybe it'll happen. High is 73, low of 55. Start of your work week, 73 degrees, partly sunny, and a low of 54. And that's your
Weekend weather.
Now we can get on. And that's for the Mid-Atlantic states, basically about an hour away from the entrance to the Northern Appalachian Trail. We're east of the Ohio Valley. We're neither too north, and we're certainly not south. Somewhere in the Mid-Atlantic. And the coast is pretty far away, I think it takes about 4 hours to get to the ocean from here. Middle of my back hurts. Sometimes I think that I got all my tests, like a written version of my CT scan. This is for people who know who I am, because do you know what this is?
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Just in case you didn't know that. So we usually start out the show with stuff like that. Sometimes we start out the show with stuff like this. If I can grab it. I'm going to get rid of the title card for a second. This is if I could figure it out. Card services, MasterCard. Well, it's one of these pretend things that I told you they give out every day. This is the corporatocracy hoping to get everybody deeply into debt so they could somehow, way, shape, or form, like kind of foreclose or just screw everybody over. Did you know that tomorrow? Oh, this is Indigo. This one is the real ripoff. Look at this one. Indigo. If you get this one. Actually, 29.9% interest. I've already seen this one at 36% interest. But the problem is, I have to keep my cake hole close to the microphone, or otherwise. I noticed in a playback yesterday,
Shut your damn cake hole!
Shut up. Setup and maintenance fees, $75 annual fee, $75, $99 after that. So you got to be a fool. And they take $75. If they give everybody like $300 usually when they start these things out. And so I never got one of these things, and I never would. As you could see, I officially torn it up. I only show this to you and to some other person out there who may have not be aware that says you're approved, because you generally are approved and they will send you. But that $300 balance in the first statement will have $75 deducted from it. And whether you buy something or not, you're going to be paying from the get-go. From the moment you get that thing, you're going to be paying 30% interest on that $75. And the way they compound interest, man, it's like frickin' daily or something. So you go out and buy a couple things, in 6 months you'll be in collections. That's just the way it is. And
Shut your damn cake hole!
Ah, shut up. That, you know who that is? That's the corporatocracy. They want you to
shut your damn cake hole!
And I say that's what I'd say, you know, you do it. You do it. You do it. I need to act my age. Do I look like a very old man to you? Do I look like a really old man to you? I should show you pictures of what I really look like. I look as old as Tattoo. Tattoo, are you watching this show? I look as old as Tattoo. Sometimes I just look like I'm a younger man. Not that young, but a younger man. That's the problem. Anyway, I got a pain in the back. I got this new theory. I'm going to probably take another pain pill. These pain pills cause constipation, but they get rid of all the pain in the frickin' world. They gave me this other pill called, I got to read it. It's called, well, Zofran is the common name, but it's ondansetron, technically. All right. Apparently, they also in the hospital gave me some opamidol. I have no idea what that was. And of course, I got hydrocodone acetaminophen in the as a pain reliever. But they were no, I think they gave me that as a pill. The other stuff they just stuck in the IV. I showed you that picture of the IV the other day. I think I have that somewhere still. Oh man, that's all I want. I just want to, like, get in bed with her and just snuggle. Right? Snuggle. Snuggling time. Today'd be a nice day to snuggle outside in the lounge chair, too. Because it's not too hot, so you wouldn't, It's, like, perfect. It'll be sunny, and we could snuggle. That's the IV. It almost looks like a leg the way that picture is. It's just distorted because it's the angle. Stupid iPhone cameras. Also looks like there's a hell of a lot more hair in the old arm, too. Anyway, that's where they injected me with some stuff. I went over some of this stuff yesterday, but what do we got here? Remember, the world is a CO2. It's a CO2 planet, and the trees live here. Not we're guests, temporary guests. Okay, so all of that said, the problem with coffee is you got to drink it fast because it gets cold. But anyway, so I have this theory. And I mean, there's nobody, concurrent viewers, 0, right? Playbacks, average watch time, 11 seconds. That seems to happen every day. I have no idea. I mean, that's like some kind of YouTube algorithmic weird thing to make sure you're like wearing clothes or something. I don't know. It's something totally bizarre. I can never figure that out. So I was thinking I might maybe I'll print out this PDF and go over some of this this thing, because there's all this information. Everybody's worried, not worried, but nobody's worried about their health, because you don't worry about your health until you're stricken down. Low toner on my printer. I wonder what which toner is going on that one. I hope it's the black ink. I'm going to print out the this will be the I got to go grab it. It'll take me 10 seconds.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
Yeah. Scary. You know, the Outer Limits had the best monsters, you know, compared to anything. I mean, they were just really great monsters. I wonder who their art director and makeup people were, or whatever, set designers. Anyway, they gave me this one pill. Again, if you're just tuning in,
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
we're going to go over, and you know, and if you're thinking something, well, what kind of YouTube channel is this?
Making up the rules as we go along.
You betcha. Anyway, so this is in microscopic print. Could you believe it? Look, you could hardly read it. Single spaced with microscopic print. CT abdomen and pelvis WIV contrast. Patient. Me. Anyway, according to this thing, indications. Okay, let's see. Comparison on findings. Lower thorax. You know, I hear the word thorax. I think of like that, you know, one of those circular things on an ant, right? Thorax. The lung bases are clear and there is no pleural or pericardial fluid. Motion artifact obscures small details. I don't know what the motion artifact was. Something in there running around. But the lung bases are clear and there's no pleural or pericardial fluid. Basically, there's no fluid in my lungs and the base of the lungs. That's where the big C, not the big C, but the little C, you know, C, the S2, the thing you're not allowed to talk about, that's usually visible in the bottom of your lungs. So they weren't testing for that, but I guess they just, you know, said, well, it's not that. So I don't have that. Of course, I already tested negative once to that a year ago, too. I think with this suntan I have, which you can't see because the color's, you know, basically near black and white, but I got so much vitamin C, my immune system is like super powerful. They want me to go see a gastrointestinologist. What do they call those guys? And GI guy. Gastroenterologist. I'm not doing that, though, I don't think. Technique. We don't care about that. Liver. No parenchymal abnormalities or masses. So the liver was like really not really showing any signs of anything bizarre. Biliary. No biliary ductal dilation. The gallbladder is contracted, containing numerous non-obstructing stones. No CT evidence of cholecystitis. So, when you get to be my age, the gallbladder always has like garbage in it. All right. But according to this, there was no obstructing stones. No. Pancreas normal, spleen normal, kidneys, no obstructing renal stones. It says collecting system stones, whatever that means. But no peria something or other or whatever. Adrenals normal, aorta vascular. Some vascular calcification of the abdominal aorts without aneurysmal common internal and external iliac arteries and wait, what does it say? Without any dilation, the celiac trunk and blah 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 arteries are patent or patent. I don't know. I see that word a couple times. The common internal external iliac arteries and they're visible. Basically, what they're saying is there's some calcification there, but it's non-obstructing, non-problematic. The heart is fine. And if I get back to eating olive oil and garlic and things like that, I should be okay. No evidence of bowel obstruction. This is really weird. That's why go see this GI doctor then. Normal appearance of the appendix. There is no evidence of acute appendicitis. There's no diverticulosis. There's no diverticulitis. Lymph nodes, no adenopathy. Pelvic organs, unremarkable. Pelvic organs, unremarkable. That's pretty funny. Bladder, unremarkable in appearance. Bones, bony structures appear intact without acute findings. No destructive bony lesions are seen. No compression deformities of the lower thoracic or lumbar spine. Abdominal wall, normal. Body wall, soft tissue demonstrate no acute findings. Now, that's a CT scan, right? And then the guy's trying to say here that CT dose reduction technique was employed to limit radiation exposure. Because I was making a big stink about that. It's kind of hot and stuffy in here, and I want to take my shirt off again. It's like a little kid somewhere, right? I think it's been drinking coffee. So the conclusion is, why would they want to send me to a gastrointestinal, whatever the fuck. I mean, I can't pronounce this stuff. Neither can they. So I took one of these, what was it called? Zofrans yesterday, because that was the thing that was I originally, it was like a pill. If you look it up, it's for like nausea, if people who feel like they're going to vomit or something weird like that. And one of the side effects is a headache. Okay. I'll get into that in a second. Like, again.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Right. I know. So, I wonder if this is still set up.
This is insane.
No, I have to do this to make that happen.
This is insane. 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 This is insane.
Just look at that. Look at that picture of these people. These so-called news reporters. Like I say, I'm not political anymore. But when I used to watch, I would watch the press briefings because I wanted to know. Like I say, I'm a first-hand person. I want first-hand, right? And I want to know. I don't want to hear somebody say, "Well, today announced that it's like, no, I want to watch it. And then I'd hear them say, "Oh, today such and such and such and such," and then I'm going like, "No, I don't think so. I watched it," and and I used to watch all the speeches and rallies and stuff like that. And then you'd hear the reports. When I did have TV, I since cut the cord. I take this shirt off. I'm sorry. If I can. Yeah, don't worry. It's not. I got clothes on underneath. I got a tank top on underneath. You see, there's clothes here. See the clothes? And you can't see me because I'll keep that thing up all day. But I'm drinking hot coffee. It's hot in here. Ugh. And this is wrapped around me, and I'm a sick man. Like I said yesterday. See, I got a feeling this is insane. I got hair back there. Oh, that's kind of, well, it doesn't feel better. See, what I'm doing is I'm trying to bend and shove a pillow because this chair I have is anything but ergonomic. And so there's no lower lump. That's where the pain is. And that's why I was thinking, liver, kidneys. And without the pill, that's where I do have the pain. But I got this theory that all I really need to do is take a big you-know-what. So like after this show, I don't know if this, I have the pills. I have some pills right here, pain pills right here. I don't know if I can get them into the view. Over a little. Pain pills. That last about 8 hours or so. And that like gets rid of everything. Well, anyway, that Zofran thing is real interesting. That took all the stomach stuff. I took one of those yesterday. They only gave me 12 pills. It's the tiniest pill in the world. I mean, it's minuscule. You put it on top of your tongue and let it dissolve. It dissolves almost instantly. It has like kind of it tastes good. It has an interesting flavor. They didn't have to do that. They could have made it taste nasty. So anyway, I took that, and that within a fairly short period of time, I no longer had discomfort in my abdomen because this was a twofold problem. Twofold. Depends on how you look at this. Twofold problem. Twofold. So you can almost tell that there's a lot of tan when you see the fingers. Right? Twofold problem. So that took care of that. All right. But it also makes you drowsy. The side effects on that pill are like ridiculous. And one of them is constipation. But another one, it says right on the thing, headache, constipation, those are like two of the main things. But then there's a million other side effects and all kinds of weird drug interactions and stuff. And then this other pill, which is basically pain pills, just a high-powered Motrin type of pill, is also gives you constipation. But like any other pain pill. So what I did was I had taken one of those. I crashed. I was trying to help a friend out, and I said, hey, man, I got to go. I can't stay here. I can't help you out. I really feel bad. He's a guy who helped me out. Yes, took me to the emergency room the other day. I'm wheezing. I don't know why that is. According to the CT scan, my lungs are clear. So it's probably because it's 5:44 a.m. and nobody should be up at this hour talking and doing a show. So I went down to help him hook up a printer up to his cash register because his other one was giving him an error, and it was just this loud beeping thing. And it's a Windows machine, and I use Macs. But usually Windows machines, it finds the printer. I went to the settings, discover printer. I found the right port and all that kind of, happy horse crap. My chair just fell down again. Jeez. And every time I do that, the pillow gets out of sync, and my God. All I want to do is do a show, tell a couple stories, and I don't know what I'll do after that. But anyway, I tried my best to do it. My stomach is feeling a little weird, so I may take another one of those pills, but I don't really want to. So last night at about, or when I woke up from crashing, I think those pills also can mess up your heart too, or something, like some weird thing like that. There was. Now I'm losing touch with reality. But I'm not on anything now. Everything should have worn off now. That Zofran wore off. Because I woke up around midnight or so with a headache, as predicted. So I took this Motrin thing around midnight. And so I think they only last about 6 hours or so. So I think it's wearing off because my back's starting to hurt me. But it got rid of the headache. And the headache shouldn't come back because I haven't taken one of those other things. So I don't know. This is for people who are interested in.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
For other people, for me.
This is a nightmare. Must be a nightmare.
I know for other people.
This is insane. This is insane. This is insane.
But I'm just trying to finish a story, if I may. Because someday you may have these problems, and, you get to hear what happened to somebody else. What happened to me is, isn't necessarily what's going to happen to you, but, I wish I would have there was somebody I was watching regularly or something like that would tell me, because that's what you want is answers. The doctors in the ER, or the attending physicians, so to speak, interns, whatever, the type of people they put on you in those things. There was nobody there. It's like people say these hospitals, it was like the place was empty. There was literally nobody in ER. And at one point I wanted to use the restroom and the door was closed. So I asked the nurse, I said, is there anybody in there? Because I was waiting. And she knocked. And no, somebody just closed the door. There was nobody in there. The hallways were vacant. So not a lot of people, at least in the hospital here. I've been hearing, I've been hearing stories about that all along, when they were saying all this stuff. So apparently there's no spike in hospitalizations here. But anyway, so I took that pill and went back to sleep. But I have this theory, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm going to probably take a couple laxatives today, that they don't work. They don't work. I even went to the pharmacist. When I was operated on, they gave me the real serious drugs, like the oxycodone or oxy whatever. The serious ones, the one that all the crazies, get addicted to and stuff. But I don't have that kind of personality. I don't get addicted to stuff like that. I rather not take a thing than take a thing. This side of my face seems a little bit fatter. Vanity, night and day, you torture me. It's a made-up lyric to a song that's actually called Jealousy. So, I'll try to get back into this thing. All right. We're 34 minutes into the show and we haven't talked about the title. Everything you know is wrong, but I was talking about these showbiz kids, media posers. It's like that line from Steely Dan, show business kids making movies of themselves. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. You go to. All right. Lost Wages. I've been to Lost Wages a few times. And I won. Mostly every time I won, except for the one time I won a lot of money and wasted it on a prostitute. And the first one they sent to my hotel door didn't have the right hair color. I said, I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. This gorgeous girl comes to the door, these escort service type people. But I mean, you know. And this gorgeous girl knocks on the door. I said, no, that's not what I wanted. Because it was like a $300 or $400 deal. You know, that's a lot of money to put out. And this was like 20-some years, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Hey, I'm a writer. I had to experience it, right? What's it like to deal with a high-end hooker, right? And in those days, you know, you spend $300 or $400 on a hooker in Vegas. That's like, you know, that's a lot different than some driving in a car in some back street paying $30 for a BJ or whatever. So, you know, I was curious. Anyway, so I sent her away, and she got on her phone and said, he didn't like me. So meanwhile, I was half tanked too. I'm not half. I was totally tanked, drunk, out of my mind. The only reason I really did it. So I had to wait. It took like a half hour. And then finally, I forget what type of girl I was looking for. I guess they had to find her somewhere. Like, you know, she was busy elsewhere. There was like a type I wanted it to look like. Not Farrah Fawcett or anything. But I mean, it was like that type of thing. Like I said, I want someone who looks like that. Maybe whoever it was had to like do her hair up or whatever. I don't know. You know. And make herself up to look like whatever I was asking for a specific type, right? It's a pretty ridiculous story. It's a true story though. Most people wouldn't admit this kind of thing. And she came in, and I was too whacked. But I think we might have went through with the whole thing. You know, it was interesting. I'm like, hey, you want a drink? You want a beer? She didn't want a beer. She was just wanted to get into it. You know, whatever you want. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird story to tell people, but you know. Anyway, let's get into this. So, but like I said, you know, you got to experience things firsthand. So you can write about it, or you could talk about it, and it's not as if you're some, you know, from the outside. You know, it's like if I were to include that in a movie scene or something, a screenplay. Well, that's the end of the coffee, which is good for the liver. But I don't think I have a liver problem. I think I just need to take a big... And how am I going to do that? Son of a... You know? Son of a... I'm still hot. I don't have a fever. I did have a fever of like 99 yesterday for a little while, but that went down. Anyway, these Motrins, yeah, there's, you know, so, you know, they have what I wanted to talk about, because I mean, this is all contemporary stuff, because what's life about? Politics and disease, right? What's 21st century life, you know? And any other time, it would be the middle of the summer, right? It would be about the boys of summer, right? Which is basically baseball, right? And any other time, this would be baseball, you know, beach, right? Vacations, concerts, the big concerts, big outdoor concerts. You know, think of what pop culture, what would be the mainstream. And I don't mean, you know, people hear that word, suddenly they think media, which they're right, because it's mainstream. That's mainstream now. But any other time, and this is like what you would call an off year, even it's an off political year. There's nothing happening, right? This is 2021. totally in between even the midterms. It's not even a midterm. It's in between the midterm. Look at the tip of this shirt here. How I've had to sew it together. This is the shirt I use out in the backyard, my farmer's shirt. It's beat to crap. It's got stains and holes and everything on it. But it's clean, and it allows me to get as much vitamin D in from the sun as possible. But no, think about that. And this is what today's show is. We'll start with this and we'll see where we go. Okay? And yeah, think about it. Summertime. Well, normally, July 31st, it's like technically we have just under 2, from a technical standpoint, almost 2 months of summer left. But, for people who go to school and parents and people like that, it's like less than a month. Every year they send these poor kids back to school. We never went back to school when I was a kid till September. And school was over by Memorial Day. Because Memorial Day weekend, I remember going to the shore and stuff. And we weren't going back to school. You had the summer off. That's why it was like Memorial Day to Labor Day. That was considered that was like the unofficial summer, the 100, what was it, like the 101 days of summer. They used to have these weird things, promos on radios and stuff, something weird like that. The 101 days of summer, or the 100 days of summer, or some type of thing. But it used to be Memorial Day, right, which was always the end of May, like May 31st. I for some reason, when I was younger, it seemed like Memorial Day always was on like May 31st or something. I don't know. Did they change that at some time, or they made it? It's always on a Monday now. But I mean, it seemed like it used to be like, I don't know. I just had a weird memory of that. Not just now. I mean, recently. Every time I do the May calendar, because I make calendars now. That's what I do for myself, and I share them with a couple of people. Wall calendars. I have a wall calendar in my bedroom above my TV. I have a wall calendar over there, this way to the beach. Can't see that muscle. And I've got a calendar in my bar, which, assuming that what did it say about the old liver-rooney? Liver. No parenchymal abnormalities or masses. Biliary. I don't even know what that means. No biliary ductal dilation. Pancreas normal. I'm surprised about that. Sometimes when you're drinking, your pancreas. So I don't think booze had anything to do with anything, but my liver results were way up. But in the things, they started to come way down. In fact, one of them, there was those 3 numbers I gave the other day on one of my shows, and one of them was back almost in the right range. The other were just like closer. Way closer. Like, instead of being like 200 or whatever the heck it was like, down below the hundreds mark. So the doctor even said that, yeah, they're down in the right direction. So, but think about it. Everything is wrong. These people, these White House people, this is the White House press room. Before the press secretary comes out, or the president, or some spokesperson. And they're all, I chose this one because I was in a hurry. I wanted to get the show started before my coffee got any colder. And I have one where actually, like, I don't know, the girl in the foreground with the camera on her who's looking down, that big giant camera. In this day and age, why would you use a camera that big? Right? I mean, you see the new iPhones, can give you a ridiculous megapixel type of, super 4K HD. So what the heck is that thing that guy's holding? And you can tell by looking at it that it's ancient. That camera on the left, lower left. And that girl, that reporter, whoever she is, I mean, these are all the main reporters you can see there. You know those faces. You've seen them. I don't know who they are because I don't watch the news, but I used to watch the press conferences because I wanted to know firsthand what the fuck was going on. And then once I found out what was going on, then I decided to get out of politics completely and cut the cord. But I have one where she's like, they're putting on makeup and like, it was like a perfect one. There's like a series of 12 or so of these that I snapped. And one of them, I caught them all. Like, it was just perfect example. I think I even had John Roberts standing up and he was doing some combing his hair. And I don't know. It's the idea that it's all showbiz, man. It's all showbiz. And like I was saying, when you think about summer, July 31st, the middle of summer, there was a time when those who are into sports would be watching frickin' baseball and going to baseball games. Right? People would be going to rock concerts, or country concerts or rap concerts, whatever it is, they big outdoor concerts, right? And they'd go, and there would be ones coming up in August. People would be thinking about, getting a girl type of thing, romance in the air, vacations down at the shore or wherever, right? Think about it. Think about, people going camping, whatever your thing is, people would be going camping, RVing, right? Backyard cookouts, that kind of stuff. I mean, these were the primary things on your mind. There were no cell phones involved. You didn't have them. They didn't exist. Okay? All right. Remember, these things were only 10, 15 years old. I mean, it's very hard for somebody 20 years old to grasp that because they literally were born, and by the time they were like kindergarten age, they were handed one of these, stupid things. So it was a part of their life, and the internet already existed. AOL, you got mail. So your mommy and daddy already had a computer, one of those big fat computers somewhere in the house that used to make all that noise and used to do that thing, right? Because back then, used to do this.
Good morning.
Yeah. Mine, there used to be I used to have Earthlink dial-up in those days, in the early days of the internet, or before I got high speed. I got high speed pretty early because I was lucky. Just happened that there was a place nearby my place that got it. So I got cable internet, and suddenly it was life affirming. But to anybody over the age of, who was born cognizant, of life in the 90s, say, the Clinton era, right? Before the endless wars, before politics became pop culture, before mainstream media became a bunch of clowns, right? Before Twitter, Facebook, and the smartphone even existed, summer was fun, it was just fun. Outdoor fun, summer fun, right? You'd see summer fun written in all kinds of places. And so now you have two things. It's politics and disease, right? Now, that's not to say that there aren't people out doing things and there aren't games going on and all that kind of stuff. But the whole landscape has changed so much that it's just no longer mainstream. It's not the primary focus or what we call pop culture. That's pop culture should be the things I outlined, not this madness that we're going through now. And so we're not going to get back to that. Once this thing, came into being, and took over, it's like the genie was out of the bottle sort of thing, and you're not going to get it back. So that's where we stand. And, so the question is, where do we go from here? Go from here. Everything is wrong. But, for those of us for those who don't know, like I say, what you don't know, that shirt I have, which I don't necessarily have a picture of it, but I do want to show the new Rock Flux mugs because I think everybody should get one of those. Especially now that I'm drinking coffee, as soon as it doesn't give me a heart attack. Chest pains. So I don't like taking pills. But anyway, I heard coffees, they say a cup of coffee is good for the liver and, I used to drink coffee and have coffee and cigarettes and that would guarantee a bowel movement, But yeah, Rock Flux. Just go to Tony Caravan Live or rockflux.com. It's the same site, same page. Just a page. And scroll down, you could see. And that's where I have the shirts and all that other crazy stuff. It's like, let me do the properties on this thing. I'm going to take this down to 13%. I think that's a little too slow. Properties. I know I can talk over this one now because there's no sound of the surf. But what's interesting about this is one of Trey's videos. I didn't go to his site today because I just got up and I'm doing this show. But it's neat to watch the sun slowly rise and get into the clouds as the surf comes in. It's neat. And that red reflection of the sun on the beach, covered by the surf now, as this progresses, you see? Because it's not looped. This is actually, going in a direction. And the sun is going behind the clouds. And I guess he's right about some kind of smoke and stuff, too, when you look at it. But anyway, that's that. So, I forgot about the sea monkeys. They're still around. Get your feet off of my microphone. I no longer need to have Stanton Friedman's picture there, but we do need to keep this here because we do need to refer to that. So anyway, I started yesterday and I'm clear-minded today, and like I say, I'm off. At this point, I'm pretty much off medication. Not that I was on medication. Yesterday I was not on medication because I hadn't gone to the pharmacy to pick up that Zofran yet, and I hadn't gotten the Motrin either. So I was just me in pain. And I'm in pain now, my lower back. But it's like, I don't know. I'm so tired. you can't imagine what it took for me to call a friend, guy who's married, he's got a business and stuff like that, to put him through that hassle and say, hey, man, could you drive me to the emergency room? Because I tried calling one of these, there are services they have in my area, and I qualify for them. And even if I don't qualify for free transportation, they usually only bill you $25 or $40. But the only alternative was to call 911. And the last thing in the world I wanted in my neighborhood is like an ambulance coming blaring a whistle. Because those guys, you can't tell, you're talking to a 911 operator. You're not going to tell them not to blow, to put the lights and the sirens on. No, they're not, you're not going to. So it's going to be like, or ambulance. Oh, and by the way, they take like a half hour to get here. The last time when I had problems once, I was dying and it was like, where the heck are they? But anyway, so I didn't want that. So I had to go through that whole thing. And I don't want to have to go through that again to go to some GI doctor. What's he going to do? Oh. Stretch. So it's like, it's my back. It's my lower back. And if I take a pill, that pain will go away. And I'll be drugged up. I mean, it doesn't do anything to you other than the fact that it alleviates all your pain, but it's a constipation thing. And I think it's what I really need. So I don't know. It's always on the weekend I think about this. I'd like to get my doctor to give me one of those kits that just gives you like a colon cleanse thing, But not something you order online, like the one they give you when you have to go in for something. It's like a prescription only. Empty me out. I think that's the problem. Okay, let's get back to the mainstream media. I know this is driving you crazy.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
Yeah, well, this show is
quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
Let's get this show on the road.
All right. So, yeah. Things have changed. And there's no use harping and repeating it day after day. Right? Because we're not going back to the way it was. And that's why I say the Save America thing is just a waste of time. And those people who are all invested big time into Build Back Better, wasting your time too. And those thinking that the Great Reset is going to somehow transform the world and this country are wasting their time. You know what? So the Great Reset, Save America, and Build Back Better are 3 advertising marketing slogans. What's advertising and marketing? It's just another form of propaganda used by people who basically want power. All right? The ruling elite, the multi-billionaires, the so-called self-elected rulers and owners of this planet. Right? And that's really what it comes down to. And everything you think you know is wrong. Everything you know is wrong, basically. And you don't know what you don't know. Because, it's just a thing. I wore that shirt when I went to the hospital, the ER thing. And I was just, and I saw everybody looking at it. But, no one asked or said anything about it. But see, what a way to communicate. Everybody should go to TonyGaravanLive.com and get one of those. I mean, it's a comfortable shirt as hell, and there's still 2 months of this nice weather ahead. T-shirt, really. Of course, you get it in a hoodie. You wear it in the fall and winter. Get it on a tote bag and use it if you can go grocery shopping. But, all indications are that we're going into another lockdown this winter. I honestly believe that. And, these media people, they don't really care because the rules don't apply to them. They make, look at these people. In fact, it's funny that they sit there and put up, sit in those that little ridiculous room in the White House. It used to be Kennedy's swimming pool. Did you know that? Yeah. It's a really crammed space. It used to be the swimming. Kennedy used to stay. That was their swimming pool. Imagine Jackie O in a bathing suit there. Yeah, that's what that used to be. And you're looking at those and you think, well, they're just reporters, White House press reporters and stuff. They're millionaires. They're millionaires. Yeah, that's why they put up with that, so they'll go in the cramped room. They don't care. They're on air. They're millionaires. Those are all network people. National network people. They're millionaires. See, the average person doesn't understand that. So the rules don't apply to them. And then the further up, whoever is the anchor, right, that they're reporting back to live, like the girl on the left, I don't like that. It's not about not liking. I have distaste for everybody in that picture. But the thing is, the anchors make like $20 million. And a lot of those, the anchors and get action, and the people who have these specialty shows like the 60 Minutes type of people and stuff like that, they go to Davos. So they're part of the World Economic Forum. So they've got a voice in the world planning. They're not there to cover it. Bloomberg and Fox Business and CNBC, they'll be doing the red carpet coverage of the limos pulling up and people getting in and talking about it and opining about it, right? And interviewing people. But I'm talking about the major players at the networks, the guys who are the on-air and editor, of the nightly news or special or big programs that these networks or even some cable channels have. No, they're part of the whole planning sessions and the sit-down meetings. They're in there. World Economic Forum, Great Reset. Yeah, they had a voice in it. So everything is wrong, but nobody really cares because they don't want to know that. And they're just into this as like what? Showbiz? Amusement? I'm here to amuse you, right? Let's go to that.
It's really funny. Really funny. What do you mean I'm funny? It's funny, it's a good story. It's funny. You're a funny guy.
What do you mean? You mean the way I talk? What?
It's just, you're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how? I mean, what's funny about it?
Tommy, you got it all wrong.
Oh, Anthony. He's a big boy. He knows what he said. What'd you say?
You're right.
Funny how? What?
Just, you're funny.
You mean, well, let me understand this, because maybe it's me, I'm a little fucked up, maybe. But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you.
Joe Pesci. He's been in hiding ever since they came up with political correctness. If you go through his body of work. So, I don't know. Yeah. Funny how. So, yeah, that's what they are. That's what the media is to me, But I eventually, like I say, it's not amusing. It would become aggravating, and it's stressful. And I know people who get stressed out. Mustaches get itchy every now and then. Goatees. It's actually a little white down here. It goes all the way down to here, but you can't see it in a black and white for some reason. This gets lighter and lighter and lighter. My chinny chin. Oh, that's a different look there. Teeth are white. Your teeth are clean, but your mind is capped. That was a John Lennon line. Anyway, so it's going to be a sunny day, probably in the better part of the U.S. of A. Former U.S., I guess former United States. It's still America. We're still Americans, They're not going to take that away from you. And geographically, we still exist. Like I say, Rome fell. You still got Italy. You're in Rome, for that matter. Same with Greece. And Great Britain and the former Spanish Empire and all the rest of them, right? Empires rise and fall, and that's just the way of the world, I'm afraid that China, my theory is that this whole thing that's happened over the past 2 years, and it's been 2 years, over 2 years, because the planning that went into Event 201, that was the beginning of it. It could be this could be 4 or 5 years in the making, maybe longer. But I think this was just part of China's long-term plan. That Xi guy, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, that this was one of their contingencies. All the financial pundits were saying that, China was set to surpass the U.S., as the, world economic power, right? I mean, that's... Just go back 10 years or more, even 20 years. And so the U.S., it didn't happen. The U.S., kind of put the kibosh on that. And so the Chinese went to one of their contingencies. And I'm sure, like anybody who knows what a contingency is, you don't just have one contingency, you have multiple contingencies. You've got contingencies for contingencies. Because if you're seriously invested in something, you don't, you don't take these things lightly. You have to have alternative plans. So, my mouth. So yeah, I think that I think everything is going according to the CCP's plan, and that's the thing people should be basically worried about more so than anything else. Not these stupid reporters, I mean, that's what you should be worried about. So all these people are afraid of the thing, right? And, and now they're trying to make this eternal because it's become $100 billion thing, profit for big pharma, big tech's into it, Plus, it's taking people's eye off the ball. So the military-industrial complex and the Federal Reserve, they're free to do whatever the hell they want to because everybody's paying attention to this other stuff. Nice afro, too. So you can get the Rock Flux. You can get any of my shirts are available in like hoodies, and there's different colors, and I've got different designs and stuff. Things designed and cuts for men and women, right? So if you want to, you want to look attractive, get the Tony Caravan Live and rockflux.com swag at TonyCaravanLive.com. You know? For crying out loud. Why wouldn't you want to get a mug? It could only cost like $12 or something like that. I don't know what it is. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. And I don't know what to say. You know, it's just very puzzling, you know, to me. I mean, it seems like at this time of year, you should be more thinking of a bikini. You see how my shirt's torn there. I was intentionally hiding that because I'm not an exhibitionist. I'm just trying to keep cool. It's freaking... See, it's cold outside, so I don't know. The heat, it got down to 57 or something, so I think I have my heat set at like 59 or 60 usually in the summertime. I don't think the thermostat goes below that. And so if it drops below 60 or 50, whatever it is. So I think the heat might have came on at some point, and that's why it's like hot, like a little bit hot in here. Anyway. You know, the show is just a thing. I realize this, and I watch these back, and sometimes I've actually fallen asleep to my own hearing myself talk. But, you know, it's the idea of having somebody out there, and especially under lockdown, you know, it's a guy talking about stuff in general. And then usually it gets into some direction, you know, it hits somewhere. And this is like TV. You know, this is the way it should be. I mean, would you rather watch like Good Morning America, for crying out loud? Yeah. And then you got to have something on. I mean, that's how they destroyed radio. I mean, people have Sirius, you know, FM or whatever it's called nowadays, you know, Sirius XM. And I've had that in the past, but like I said, I have so much music, and now I have these, you know, Alexas. Can't say the name too loud because it's in the other room. Those things are sensitive. So I could choose and listen to any kind of music, and because I have Amazon Prime, I think I only pay $3.99, or I'm supposed to, but I think they're overbilling me, but you know, that's another thing. It's so hard. The way the corporatocracy is running things right now, it is so hard to get to customer service or to deal with problems and issues. I mean, it's literally impossible sometimes. Like, you just take it. I've gotten to the point that where sometimes I've been sent the wrong, like I said, they'll deliver the wrong product. They won't deliver something. I try to complain. Maybe sometimes you'll get a refund. Maybe you won't. I notice in these boxes, they don't even include the send back thing anymore. Right? Remember there used to be like a label, you know? Maybe some of you still get them in some companies, but I order a lot from, I'm not going to particularly name a company and stuff, but you know, one of the biggest ones. And, you know, I remember there always used to be this, like, you know, peel off label in the bottom of the box in case something was damaged or messed up or something like that. But see, they don't want you even to send the thing back anymore. Yeah. They don't want to go through that trouble. So it's really, you know, so half the time you just like, oh, okay, I got screwed over. They sent me the wrong thing, or they sent me one, I ordered two. They sent me two, I ordered one. You know, it's like, oh man, I'm just so tired of complaining. It's like the doctor thing and stuff. It's like, I'm tired. I'm not going to spend my entire life going to various specialists to figure out why I got a pain in my back. I mean, they just irradiated me and they gave me the CT scan and didn't see anything. What else is some other guy going to do? Like, feel around with his hand? Right? I mean, what else could you do? An MRI? You know, I mean, I've had that. Oh, man. So I'll tell you, pain sucks. And I could understand how people get addicted to pain pills, but I'm not that kind of person because, like I said, I'm a lot better off today. I feel a lot better right now than I did yesterday. So I probably won't take any more of that Zofran stuff. But that is very interesting stuff. It's just really totally uncool. You do get a headache after it wears off. I think it lasted about, I don't know, 8 hours or more. Whatever it was. But, if you had an upset stomach or something along those lines and you take one of those things, gone. Pain, like it's gone. Or if you're up, feel, like sick in your stomach, or like I say, people who feel like, like they're going to vomit almost or whatever. Like, what's the other word? There's some other word for it. No, just short of that. I can't think. My brain's fried. But it definitely does it. It's like end of story. But when the darn thing wears off, you get a headache. You have a headache. And your only way out of that is to take a heavy duty pain pill. Because like a regular aspirin's not going to get rid of that kind of headache. So all of these things come with, there's always some negative with it. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm not going to talk much about it anymore unless it gets worse.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I'll keep you abreast of all that sort of stuff. All right. And let's get on with the show. So I am wondering if we get into this lockdown again, which it's looking more and more like it is. Like I say, the big companies seem to be invested into it. All right. And so where the money is really is a good barometer, as they say, of what, or a crystal ball of what's about to occur. Now, for me, to be honest with you, at this point in my life, I really don't care, because the lockdown for me, even last year, and I said this in videos a while back when they were giving us free money, but it's like all the lockdown meant for me was $3,200 in tax-free revenue, money, right? And I had to wear a bandana, to the grocery store, which was like kind of the only place I went, except to a doctor's appointment where, like, when I was in the hospital, I wore the bandana, and they said, well, you're going to have to wear a different mask. And they gave me one of these, doctor's type of masks, which was fine. They handed it to me. I said, I don't care. I just slid down my thing and put it on. And then the thing broke, and when I left, and that's that. Stretching feels good, So the thing about it is, it's an age. People over a certain age and live in a certain lifestyle, this lockdown thing, and I think that's why there's not more outrage than you would expect. Because for a lot of people, they're basically looking at this saying, so what? Right? I think there's more people becoming self-reliant, slightly self-reliant, not fully self-reliant. Okay? It's almost impossible to be that. Like, I'm not self-reliant. I have some things. I grow food in my backyard. So technically, if the supermarket closed tomorrow or was like, couldn't get any food, at least now, right now, I could basically live off of, what's growing in my backyard. Really. And I could do it. I could get through the summer. And if it did close right now, I've got like a lot of seeds. And I've also learned to take seeds now from plants. So I used to, like, when my plants started to go to seed, like kale plants or lettuce plants and things like that, I used to just like pull them out of the ground because they were done, right? And just put them in. I have an area in the farthest corner of my yard. It's like a compost bin type of thing I set up. And I just throw stuff in there. I never even really use the compost from it. It's a place. And it just keeps breaking down. So it's like my own private, dump of all that kind of stuff. But since it's just, basically plant matter, it decays and just keeps, so it never overflows, so it's just a way to get rid of it. And I guess someday, maybe, if there comes a time when I can no longer get dirt, soil, in the coming years or something, having had that stuff pile up, I'll probably have this good mass of soil, compost. But, and like I say, so I'm collecting my own seeds. I have a very good seed collection, though, it's important to note that seeds only last a couple of years when you buy seed packets. And you got to look at the dates on the bottom of them. I mean, sometimes you'll luck out. A seed could be a year old or beyond its best date, and it'll still come up. But, if you were counting on it for food, don't. I'm trying to adjust my back. The pressure there. Bottled water. Spring water. Keep yourself hydrated. So in that regard, yeah, I would start growing, I would use my little mini greenhouse, the TARDIS as I call it. And I would start, if I heard today that, there was going to be a supply chain disruption. And I'd start planting seeds using the natural hot weather and my little TARDIS greenhouse to germinate seeds. So I would grow lettuce and kale and starts like that. And the tomatoes, I actually ate tomatoes that I grew in January. I started in like January, middle of winter, because here in the Mid-Atlantic states, it's like I said, we get 7 months of cold weather. Winter's like 7 months long. You're lucky if you get a total month of spring, a month of fall, and then you get these 3 months of summer. So, and I have one of these, you see the on-air light, and I talk about this, and it's like, well, let's see here. Well, you can't see here. Let's get rid of that, get rid of this. Behind me here, the codecs, right? This thing here, this jackery, which the transistor radio's on, that's my muzzle, is a power thing. So I can charge that through a solar panel and I have electricity. Enough to run, like I say, that on-air light has been every day running on that thing. Every day, every show. This year. For several hours a day, 7 days a week. And there's at other times during certain shows, I have another light back there that sometimes I have plugged into it and put on. And it's very efficient. So like a lithium ion battery or something in there. So you could charge it in your house, charge it solar, or charge it in your car, right? So I have that, kind of thing. And a lot of people have that. If I had more money, I wish, it's like I say, I really don't care anymore because I know the government, there's all these people who are, especially libertarian. I've always supported libertarian kind of ideas, right? Because I believe in freedom and less government and, I'm against these endless wars and all that stuff. So, I mean, a lot of my, ideological, philosophical leanings are towards liberty, freedom, right? But, there's a lot of people, but I don't necessarily call myself a libertarian in that regard because they also have, and I'm against the Fed, and the libertarians are definitely against the Fed and all this money thing. But where we, separate is that I see what's going on as it's all funny money. And so I don't really care about that. The whole concept of debt. The U.S. is so much in debt, and there's so much funny money being printed on a daily basis or being sent to banks overnight that it's completely, totally, absolutely out of control. Now, there are people talking about a depression coming within the next 3 to 6 months. Some billionaires talk about that, but they talk about that stuff all the time. It's possible. But, I don't care if the government decides to give money out. But what I started to say earlier is tomorrow, I believe, is the day that if you are one of those people that haven't been paying your rent, that moratorium on mortgages and rents, right, with landlords that they passed last year, that expires tomorrow, I think. Pretty sure. So either there's going to be some announcement today on the Sunday, well, today's Saturday, announcement tomorrow on the Sunday talk shows or Monday press conference or something weird like that they're going to extend that. Which I can't imagine them extending that because it's like, I guess it was, I don't know if it was Dave Rubin. I don't know who it was. I don't watch many people. I watch Dave Rubin because he's got locals. I've got a locals community channel, TonyCaravanLive.locals.com. So I watch Rubin because he's straight ahead. I mean, his background, he's a lot like I was in that, I had liberal leanings and I've had conservative leanings. And I've gone back and forth and back and forth. And it's like I said, if I had libertarian leanings. So I'm just non-political now. So I just kind of talk about pop culture and what's going on. But, so I'll watch Rubin because, he just seems to have his act together and he's just a straight shooter. So it might have been him that had actually said that about the mortgages. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure. But whoever it was, and it was probably somebody on Locals, because that's one of the things that's one of the places that I kind of hang, right? And Mastodon, which is the podcast index, all right? So you should check out, that's an alternative place for podcasters who, that are, as opposed to having Apple and Google be your gateway for podcasts. And there's some discussion on there, But anyway, wherever I heard this, the point was, whoever was talking about it was trying to say that, not all landlords are big corporate landlords. They're certainly, the lion's share are. people that own these buildings, not just within a certain community, but nationwide. There's big ones. In fact, there was one time many, many years ago that I actually had contracted one of those. I was doing their ads for their apartment buildings that they had, and I had a deal that I would get paid $1 per unit. That was how they said, well, what kind of price do you want? I said $1 per unit. And they said, okay, that's fine. And I forget how many hundreds of units they had, but that's what I used to get paid. This was years ago, 35 years ago or more. Did that for a little while. I used to just I was basically in charge of the ads to get people to rent their apartment complexes. But they had a lot. They were big, had to travel to another city, like their headquarters, to meet with the bosses. So, but most landlords are just people within your town and this is where I was saying, I forget who said it. It might have been Ruben, it might not have been. But the idea was that, maybe somebody say I had, I had a duplex, whatever you want to call it. And I might rent out half of the duplex to someone. Or maybe I buy a building across the street from me where there's 2 units or 4. There's another one that's there that's got like 3 or 4 units in it. Say I go out to the owners because they'd probably sell cheap right now. And say, look, I'll buy that building from you. Right? Well, if I had tenants in there, this past year, they would have been within their right to not pay monthly rent. And I couldn't foreclose or couldn't evict them, in this case eviction, until now that's run out. The time frame was the end of July. And if they decide to move out, they were within their right. It's like you could say goodbye to that year's worth of rent. And so if that was I paid for that building and had to pay the taxes, water, right, insurance and all that stuff, then I've gone in like deep debt. So you're going to see a lot of apartment buildings up for sale, I think, which maybe there already are. Or there's probably people waiting to see what happens in the next day or two. What the government does if there's an extension of this. But if there is an extension of this, there's no winning way out of this thing. Is what I'm getting at. Because the small landlord, the guy who owns a building or 2 or half of a duplex is like really hurting big time. If they extend it, it's going to crush them. So, and if they don't extend it, then these buildings are people are going to just put these buildings up for sale because people are going to have to move out because they'll have this back rent due and, have to start paying their rents. And I may or may not be mistaken, but I believe it's September when it's already happened in some places, but by September, the unemployment extra money runs out. So think about that. So are they going to extend that again or not? It's the fall. You're coming into the holiday buying season, retailers. So there's going to be a lot of corporatocracy pressure on, their puppets in the government, which are really part of the corporatocracy. They're cardboard candidates. To extend that. And see, the thing that gets me about this, why I get, and it's always unfair to people who aren't on, when they do these unemployment type of things. It's unfair to to say someone like me. So, why give free money to some person, but they won't give you any? So if there's an extension of unemployment or an extension of this free, live for free, then there better be another check that goes out to the people, on the order of at least over $1,000 or $1,200 or something like that. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Like if they just keep throwing money out. But like I say, they're not, and a lot of times they're not really, it's not fair and balanced, so to speak. My back is starting to bother me again. So I'm thinking very much I might take one of those pain pills. I know, it's weird. See, I have this theory that, considering I only took pills one day, that maybe if I take pills for a couple days, eat really healthy and exercise, that, then I'll just, won't need them anymore. It's like what I'm doing now is I push it. You push it as far as you can push it, because I'm not an addictive type of person. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that the thing is going to fade away, or that I'm passing a certain, I'm getting healthier. Like, for example, the pain right now is primarily my back. It's not like all over my abdomen the way it was. So that means that problem may have been already starting to be solved. Like this morning for breakfast, I had some yogurt, granola, blueberries, raw honey, cinnamon, organic coconut. I just made myself a little mini bowl of that. And, and probably today I will have some kale, chopped garlic. I've got a lot of fresh tomatoes. My garden is like giving the tastiest tomatoes. If you're a tomato person, you take a tomato. You could just eat them like an apple. That's how good they are. So I'll probably have like a fresh tomato, kale instead of lettuce. Put some turmeric. You got to have black pepper with turmeric, which is an anti-inflammatory. Chopped up garlic. Put that on there. Some people think garlic's strong, but with that rest of that stuff on, and put just a slap of mayo or something like that on there, some olive oil, and maybe a slice of cheese, and eat that. And that's like medicinal, but it's food. It's food. You're getting everything you should. And maybe later on, I've got some broccoli in there. I might just mix in some kale or broccoli and tomatoes and see what else is sitting around the garden. And make myself, I've got some salad dressing in there, and make myself some kind of, healthy salad like that. And the idea is that along the way, this is just my plan, is that as I do this, even if I have to take pain pills for another day or two, that in the interim, by eating healthy and getting out and walking and exercising a little and getting some keep the vitamin C, get some sun, lay in the sun today for an hour or so, that I will have rejuvenated or, killed off whatever. Even this Motrin, it's an anti-inflammatory, so if there is inflammation causing these problems. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I will consider this, GI thing. Anyway, that's that. So that's my story. But I would be very disappointed. I just think, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, extend it, both the foreclosure or eviction thing and the unemployment thing. Because remember in 2008, they just kept extending it. And the thing was, what I hated is I was on unemployment like after that period, right before I retired. And I only got 26 weeks. And those people who go on unemployment for like 2 years. And I was like, and the unemployment I got was like such a small amount. That's how I ended up getting into the concept of living below the poverty line. Because I found out, because I was at a point where the unemployment wasn't enough to cover my bills, that I just thought, and I'd never done this in my entire life because I've always had good jobs or I was self-employed. I always managed to get by. And even if I had hard times, I just weathered through it. I never was on unemployment. I never accepted food stamps. I never went on welfare, so to speak, or with any of that stuff. Never even thought, But this time it was like, well, whoa, man, I got a house and I've got this unemployment just isn't paying the bills. In fact, it was enough to pay my mortgage. That was it. So I reached out. Someone told me, said, well, they had these, social, whatever they call it, not social services, but there's some kind of thing, some county thing. So I called in and got some social worker or something like that. I don't know. And they said, oh, yeah. If you're, how much money are you getting from this? And I gave them the amount. So, oh, yeah, well, you apply. And they sent me a food stamp card, which is like EBT, it's the electronic benefits transfer. You get it it's like a debit card now. And they sent me some money so I could use that at the supermarket for food. And they sent me a health card because I applied to it. So I had like free health care, which would become a so-called godsend as I, went down the track of having multiple health problems. It sucks getting older, I mean, this stuff happens. It's just the way it is. I don't abuse my body at all. But it's, shit happens. I don't know. It sucks. So, and so I looked at that and then I realized and I said, well, to heck with it. And, so I just, so I'm done, And then I had, some things happened to me, I had some operations and cancer, and I was like, okay, well, screw that. I'm retired. So I'm living I'm below the poverty line. So I'm covered now, but I have just enough. The thing is, I just have just enough to get by. I don't have anything extra. That's why I say, so I would like to buy a solar panel. I would like to get this or that or whatever, but I can't. Because I just don't have. In fact, this month was one of certain quarterly expenses you have. And this month was like the quarter. And so I had to dish out more money. In fact, I'm behind on my water and sewer bill by 1 month. So next month I'm going to have, that's going to be a catch-up game over the next several months. But that's that. So the part that's unfair is that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you reach a certain age, you work your whole life, and you pay into a system. The heck with it. It's like, people, just collect Social Security, or whatever safety net benefits are there if it's legitimate. It's not like you abuse the system, But there are people who are abused the system and people who live on it their whole life. That's just the way it goes. But I'm not one of those people. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see what happens, but I doubt it just seems to me that I watched the Fed chairman speech a couple of days ago. I think that was on YouTube. Like I say, I always watch firsthand. That's why I don't, there seems to me no reason actually to watch the news, because all they do is give their opinion and they cut, and just a clip of something. Whereas I rather watch the long form, well, what did the Fed chairman say? Really say. I don't want somebody telling me well, he said this, and here's a little excerpt of it. Well, it's like, no, I'll watch the whole thing so I could see in context what he said and what it looks like. And and you can watch that on YouTube and make your own decision. I'm sure it's still up. Just search Fed chairman, whatever, speech or something. And it seemed to me, and again, like I say, I don't want to pretend I'm a news person because this isn't a news show. But it seemed to me that he had left the door open, that not only was the Fed supplying money to the banks still in the number of double-digit billions of dollars, this overnight lending, and that they were buying debt. That's what's been keeping the U.S. afloat, the Federal Reserve, which is a consortium of private banks. It has nothing to do with the federal government. Remember, the ex-Fed chairman is now the Treasury Secretary. So it's so incestuous, it's pathetic. So the corporatocracy, the U.S. is owned, all right, by the corporatocracy. They have the incestuous relationship now with social media, right, through censorship and stuff like that. Incestuous relationship with the Federal Reserve. The military-industrial complex has always had an incestuous relationship with the Pentagon, right? Big Pharma has an incestuous relationship with the FDA, And so the NIH and CDC, all these things it's all one big corporatocracy. And that's what I'm trying to say. And people who are out there trying to say, oh, we'll save America or whatever. I didn't even get into the bureaucracy and the alphabet agencies and all that crap. But people just don't get it. But it's there for you to see. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just like it's in your face. It's like, look at this picture of these people, these millionaires, grooming themselves, getting ready, for some press conference and to give their reports back, to the nightly news about what, everything is wrong, man. It's a corporatocracy. You're not going to, change it. It's like long gone. Like the U.S. Western civilization has pretty much fallen completely. It's hanging on, but it's like hanging on with like one finger from the top of a building. And the U.S., it's the former U.S. We're anything. The Constitution is just, nobody cares about that. There's so many direct violations of the Constitution going on right now by the corporatocracy that it's unbelievable. And the court system is doing nothing about it. Absolutely nothing. So anyway, this Fed guy, the Fed chairman, whatever the hell his name is, alluded to the fact that they were going to continue to do, to support. He didn't use the word prop up, but basically it sounded to me like he was basically, we're going to continue to prop up the U.S. So at least in the short term, he was trying to signal that he's going to prop up the market, the stock market and the government. That kind of thing. So I wouldn't doubt that there might be a continuation of these existing programs. But like I said, if they do that, then they should basically give other people some money. And people think that sounds crazy, but the idea is it's not. I mean, it's all funny money. It's all just ledgers in the cloud, right? And, why should somebody, last year they were saying, well, these people lost their job and it was no fault of their own. Well, yeah, it's never, so I lost a job one time and it was no fault of my own either. Right? And, think that inflation is way up, the price of gas is way up and all this other stuff. It's no fault of my own. So, if you're going to give somebody an extra $600 a month or whatever it is, a week, I don't know what every 2 weeks, whatever these people are getting, $1,200 extra a month or something in some states. Then what about the rest of us? It's no fault of our own either, right? In other words, there are I forget how many millions and millions of jobs there are available right now. And nobody is taking them because they're just sitting at home because they're getting this unemployment bonus. And people will tell you outright to say, well, why would I go to work when I get for less than what I can get to stay at home? So I'd be curious to see if they continue that. But that's a distinct possibility. And remember, everything, follow the money. And, we still live in a consumer-based society, and the biggest buying season is basically like Halloween through Christmas. So these things run out in September. That's like the big consumer buying system. That's like the make or break season, right? And right in the middle of that is like, Black Friday or whatever they call it, and then Cyber Monday and all that kind of crazy stuff, which turns out to be like Cyber Week, and and the Black Friday sales start, a week in advance. And yeah, people go crazy spending, and they're giving out all these weird these crazy credit cards to anybody, and then those people all go in debt. But nobody really cares. It's just crazy. All they're doing is it's like this endless thing. How long can they keep it going? And that's the concept by these people, the players right now. Their idea is to, with credit is that, well, money doesn't matter. That's their theory, economic theory. So the U.S. could be, just keep getting trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. And it won't matter because the Fed will just be, bouncing, putting that money on the ledger and taking, and just propping things up. Their ideas indefinitely. So what is, it's an interesting concept, and these other people say, well, there has to become a day of reckoning, right? When the debt comes due or something like that. But the whole world is like in debt like this because it's not just our central banking system. It's the central banking system in Europe, the Chinese, it's all over the place. And people have gold and silver and Bitcoin and all this other stuff. But, they're just, you can't do it. That's why there's a buying frenzy now with real estate and hard goods. I've been talking about this. All the Bitcoin people and the stock market people are hedging their bets that in case there is a collapse of some kind or a day of reckoning, that they're trying to buy hard goods. So they're buying real estate sight unseen. I have it here. Let's see. I took this picture. I meant to show it to this friend of mine. So let's go to camera. Yeah. Let me show you my iPhone. Get rid of this thing for a second. Yeah, I was walking down the street, and this is yesterday. I took this picture. We buy houses, any condition, in some weird phone number that's definitely not near here. Right? See that? I took that picture. And there was one on the other side of the street, and I don't know how many of these things, but I have a feeling they're all over the town. We buy houses, any condition, right? Come on over, baby. So, that's the story. I mean, that's what's going on. So people, they're just trying to get hard goods. So I tell people, if you've got property, sell, because they'll pay top dollar. They'll pay above asking price. They just want to put their money in, these people who are Bitcoin millionaires and stock market millionaires, because the markets are way up, right? It's like 35,000, or something ridiculous like that. I mean, I could look at that too. Let me see here. I used to keep, I do have the stocks thing. I mean, this would be Friday's closing numbers, but let's just look at it. Let me get rid of the title card. I don't know why it's... Sometimes if I have my phone off, it has to go... It won't show me. Well, forget about that. In other words, what I've noticed is that we're not going to see this, so let's forget that. Title card, iPhone. If I have my iPhone off now, because it's an old iPhone, and I'm not going to buy a new one, that I have to restart it in order for it to update. That suck. So in other words, it's showing emails that will disappear. It's showing other stuff. And it's so I have to restart it. But, excuse me, I've checked I checked the stocks, I think a couple days ago anyway, on the show. And the point was that it's 34,000, 35,000, I don't know, something ridiculous like that, I mean, I could check Bitcoin right now for the sake of it. Let's see here. New window. Bitcoin value today, 41,800 in US dollars. $41,000. Also, nobody watched this show today. Not weird. It says 2 playbacks, but average watch time 6 seconds. So that means someone may have clicked and then clicked off. But I don't even see the YouTube algorithm. I don't know what that's going on. Usually there's always one viewer, and it's usually the YouTube algorithm. So who knows? Maybe they're sending a signal out, and they're the one that are causing this problem with me, which I'm starting to have a little pain in my stomach right now. Health sucks, man. Health sucks. I was going to try to help that guy hook up his printer this morning in about 3 hours from now. But I don't know. Anyway, so that's today's show. I think we'll just end it there,
Good morning.
hopefully you gleaned something out of this. Thanks for watching. Visit TonyCaravanLive.com or RockFlux.com. Get some RockFlux, or, you don't know what you don't know, or everything you know is wrong, or then what gear. Plus there's some info to great solar stuff and other things there. Just check it out. It's just one big page. Eventually I'm going to turn that into a website, but I don't think I'll really get around to that until the fall, because I'm so busy now with the garden and with this health stuff, trying to solve these problems, that I really want to build that out as a really nice website. So check it out, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and